Thank you very much. Bit of the embarrassment of the meat and potatoes, but I'm afraid it's a staple diet that works for me. Let's get straight into it, and thank you for showing those cards. I'd hoped to have seen a few more, but obviously it's a mixed ratio of men and women. Typically the ladies pull out those cards a lot quicker than the gentlemen do. Off we go.
We do an enormous amount of customer analytics now. We're able to trace and track the vast majority of our sales, and although we can't communicate with each individual customer, we can analyze our full customer base. Once you've got that analytics in place, it's much easier to segment your range. You then segment your range appropriately, and you focus on your own strategy. You don't focus on other people's strategies. You focus on your own strategy, and you get that delivered as excellently as you can. And I think you said it has been traumatic. It's been an exciting journey. It really has. It's shifted how we think about our customers and how we think about our goods.
You talk about we use customer analytics now. Is it a relatively new introduction into the Woolworths process?
The science is just getting so intricate and fascinating. You can trace data these days, you can store data, you can cut and dice it in a way that you never could do before. So it's a new world for all of us, and I think particularly exciting.
So that is an extract from Simon Sussman, who is now the chairman of Woolworths. He was the CEO at the time. And that was taken 2 years ago, actually, but I still play it because it is so relevant. And Keith earlier was talking about that change. How do you get your CEO to sit up and listen to you? And Simon was my absolute the best case study possible of a CEO who was saying, but I'm a retailer. And Rob earlier was saying, don't call yourself a retailer, but a retailer. Anyone who's from retailing in the room? Small selection, one person. Retailers, they know their business from a sense of they can smell the strawberries, they feel the fabric of the product. But look what I'm saying, they're not talking about the customer necessarily. So Simon, when we started on this journey to customer centricity, that's what he used to say to me, take this complicated stuff away, I know what to sell. We do the best food, we've got the finest fabrics, the best innovation. And slowly but surely, through change management and proving customer centricity works, you heard the gentleman himself speaking then, talking about, don't worry so much about your competitors, use your data to drive your strategy, and you will get the results. So let me take you through a journey, not the Woolworths journey, a broader journey of how you too can use big data to drive customer centricity. So we started off talking about loyalty programs. But loyalty programs, interestingly to me, are just the marketing arm of customer centricity. You often have data that you can do amazing things with without necessarily needing a loyalty program. But loyalty programs play a role, but I'm not going to talk about that today. The presentation today isn't about loyalty. They do play a role, but they're not essential to this exercise. Many of you may or may not know the UK landscape, but probably one of the oldest and most famously quoted loyalty program is the Tesco's Club Card, and their data partner is so important to them they actually bought them, dunnhumby. And I often joke about dunnhumby being the warlords of data globally. And look what the chairman of, talking about making your chairman sit up and listen, or your CEO sit up and listen, look what happened after a 3-month trial of testing the Club Card 16 years ago. What scares me about this is you know more about my customers after 3 months than I know after 30 years. And that can really be the case if you haven't started using your data. Walgreens, anyone heard of Walgreens, in the US? Huge pharmaceutical business. Last year in May, I was at a conference in the States where the data guy at Walgreens stood up and says, in September, we're launching a loyalty program. We are going to have, in 12 months, 60 million members. And I was there with Steve Hoban, who's the Pick and Pay general manager for Smart Shopper. We were talking about the Smart Shopper success. And we looked at each other and laughed, because here in South Africa, they achieved 3 million in 3 months and was heralded to be the fastest growing loyalty program from 0 to 3 million in 3 months. 60 million was their target in 12 months. They're now 4 months into it, and they have over 50 million members on the Walgreens program. But look why they're doing it. Yes, they're giving something back to the end customer, but at the end of the day, these big brands are doing it so that they can understand the organization better, so they can become more customer-centric, so that their customers can have a better experience with the product, the experience, the people, and so on. These are some of the brands who were presenting last year at this Chicago conference. All of them talk about leveraging the data. All of them talk about the insights. Very few of them talk about marketing. I am a marketeer at heart and from my previous life, but this is not just about marketing. So let's talk about the ultimate prize from loyalty. We refer to the iceberg effect. Above the waterline, you've got these great loyalty programs, whether it's Smart Shopper, Edcon, W Rewards. But that can only give you so much point of differentiation with your brand. That can only give you a 1% back to your customer or a 4% back to your customer. You can't buy loyalty, we know that. You've got to engage emotionally, exactly as we heard earlier about the bank. If you say sorry with a bottle of wine immediately, then wow, what a brand ambassador you can get from that simple gesture. It's what you do beneath the waterline when your competitors can't see you, what you do with your data, what you do with the insights to drive a different business strategy to respond to your customer needs that's going to get you long-term profitability. You've got the overt strategy and your covert strategy. Your overt strategy, as Simon Sussman was saying on the podcast, everyone can follow it. Your marketing is out there, it's on the website. But your covert strategy, no one will know what you're doing. Your competitors cannot sign up to every single possible mailing that you send out. It's impossible because you should be sending different mailings to different people. They can never follow you entirely. Colloquy is an awesome US-based consultancy, and they talk very much around loyalty as a destination, but it's about the data-centric marketing that gets you the long-term change in behavior. And again, I've just got 2 quotes from Simon and now the CEO, Ian. The reason they do W Rewards at Woolworths is not necessarily to give you 10% off milk, off your 3-litre milk, or 10% off the newest sandals. It's to get your data. But you're not going to give that to them willingly unless you get something in return, and hence the rewards program are their way of meeting you halfway in that equation. And these quotes are what these 2 gentlemen at different times have issued in the press about why they do customer centricity or W Rewards. So let's take a little walk down the traditional loyalty model, and that's probably the last I'll talk about loyalty. But if you are swiping your card in a retailer or across in banks and so forth, you typically could expect to see an uplift between 4 and 6% of sales. So if there's 2 customers like for like, one with the card, one without, one is hoping to get about a 4 to 6% uplift in sales. So that's pretty cool. You want to do that. Your business case must make you enough money from that uplift in sales for the investment you put into it. But it's what you do above with that data in twofold. So the first conversation I'm going to have here is around what you do with that data in the traditional direct marketing sphere. So you take the data that you get from your loyalty program, you get your insights. Data alone is worthless. I'm not an analyst. Data is worthless. It's the insights that drive your strategy. That helps you do better direct marketing. So you talk to the mum about Pampers, you talk to the girl about fashion. You need to understand your customer. This is 101 of CRM. And from that, you can see uplifts quite comfortably, if you get it right, across your channel mix, again, of about a further 6%. But that depends by industry, by channel, by message, by the richness of your incentive that you may have sent as a voucher, and so on. So we could stop there. A lot of companies I know stop there, and they think they're doing amazing CRM, but this doesn't even touch what you could be getting as benefits. Target. These are guys who use their data so well that they can predict. Has anyone in the room heard of the Target example I'm about to show you? 1 or 2 hands raised. I'll share it with the rest of you. Target, a big US retailer, they predicted so accurately that one of many customers was pregnant. Now, you may say, well, that's obvious. She came in and bought a pregnancy test. No, it wasn't because of the pregnancy test. It was because she started using organic products. See, ladies, whoever's been pregnant in the room, whoever is pregnant in the room, you will understand this to a T, and gentlemen, for supporting your partners going through this chaos. Organics, folic acid, stretch mark cream, you name it. There's a whole list of stuff that actually hasn't got the word pregnancy written anywhere near it. Helped predict that customers were pregnant. And they sent out a direct marketing mailer, paper mail, and the father, it's a story that the Forbes magazine covered in the States. The father opened it and said, "Young lady, is there something you need to tell me?" And she went, "Yes, Dad, there is." Now that to me is amazing predictive marketing, amazing direct marketing, but terrible thought process about, is that right? So those of you who, for example, there's a lot of retailers do baby clubs, with caution, because you've got the data that says the due date is tomorrow. Please be careful how you use that, because there may have been a complication, and you don't want to send out congratulations if something terrible happened. So you've got to combine the science with the soul of a clever, normal, emotional human being, combined with the science will get you the best results. And they came back and defended their actions by saying that we use all of this data, we're very customer-centric, we understand the preferences, and we send offers that are relevant to them. Yes, the pregnancy offer was relevant to the young lady, but it wasn't necessarily appropriate. So away from direct marketing, if you drop beneath this line, going back to the iceberg effect, beneath the waterline, if you can use your data for informing your product strategy, your pricing strategy, your distribution strategy, and your customer service, you're onto a winner. So let's have a look at how we do that. Product strategy. Anyone, whether you're a bank, whether you're a retailer, you will have sales data. If you don't, we're all in trouble. You'll have sales data, but you'd rather have customer data on who is buying baby carrots, for example, rather than just baby carrots data. So I'm going to take you through another Tesco's example that illustrates this so fabulously. So hobnobs, you can't really buy them here easily. You can buy them in specialist stores. There's a lot of English people in the room who've come over for the conference. Hobnobs, they're fabulous. Fabulous biscuits, and they used to come, they probably still do, in cardboard tubes or the cellophane wrap tubes. So, on the shelves of Tesco's, sales per week, about 60,000 of the cellophane wrap tubes, and about, how many is that, 8,000 or 9,000 of the tubular cardboard wrapped. So if I'm the category manager for biscuits, looking at my shelf space, what should I do? Get the cellophane wrap up, or competitor biscuits, and get rid of the tubular wrap. Perfectly normal response if you take a product view. However, they then looked at who buys the cellophane wrapped and who buys the tubular wrapped. The customers buying the tubular wrap did so 9 times out of 10 visits to the store. Therefore, a very important choice on 90% of my visits, and they were in your top tier of valued customers. Therefore, you don't want to upset them. The customers buying the cellophane wrap did so only on 4 out of 10 visits, so only 40% of the time, and were in the bottom or middle tiers of your value tiers. Therefore, less important, you could actually make a different decision. So they kept the tubular wrap. That is a brand that understands their customers combined with product, not a typical approach of just product. So use your data to inform your product strategy. Pick and Pay already are releasing amples and amples of examples of how they're using their data differently, which means their competitors can't always see what they're doing. If you take out a press release, not a press release, a TV ad or a newspaper insert, ShopRite is watching you. They're probably anticipating and going to go for a deeper price cut tomorrow. But if you do it in this way, using your data to decide what offer you offer, which customers, at what discount, in which region, because your data tells you what you should do, then your competitor can't follow you. Which leads on to the pricing strategy. We all want discounts. Raymond Ackerman always says, rich people love discounts, poor people need discounts. So you can't make the assumption that the higher value tier customer doesn't need your discount. But I may be the most loyal tier to a brand like a Woolworths or a Pick and Pay. I still am price sensitive to bleach, no matter which brand I go into. But I really don't care what I have to pay for chili-infused olive oil if that's what I need tonight to do a dinner party. How many of you have rushed to Thrups, paid 3 times more than you'd need to at Checkers because you needed it tonight? But not everyone's in that place. So the different segments of your customer base on different products need different discounts or promotions. Don't assume you have to discount everything at the same price to everyone and erode your margin. And that happens in the banking space, retail space, leisure space. Understand your pricing strategy based on your customer data. Distribution strategy, where you put things in a store, how you sell your products, whether financial services or leisure and so forth. We heard Rob talking about Togo's Sun. The data behind gaming, majority of that from MGM, we're talking about this in the States, is around everything but gambling. It's around the leisure, around the hotel, about the entertainment and the hotels. All of this plays a part. And also, I'm going to play you a clip now that isn't necessarily about the data, but just listen to this experience. And this clip, you may have seen it before, but this clip illustrates to me how our rules imposed on our end customer are absolutely frighteningly awful.
Okay, don't worry. What's your postcode? It's GU749ZT. Welcome back, Nick, forever. Please listen carefully to this spread license agreement before continuing your purchase of a loaf of bread. If you do not, you are blah. You also agree not to use any bread-based product for any purposes prohibited by United Law, including without limitation, design, development, manufacture of missile, chemical, nuclear, or biological weapons. Tick. I'm afraid you've timed out. What? Sorry. Hello? Excuse me? Oh, yeah, hey. Just what, sir? Yeah, we just... What's your username? It's Nick Forever, number 4, not like... Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to check that you're a real person. Could you say that? You don't forget it. Hey, that pots are nice. You're in? Great, I'm in. £8.85. It's supposed to be not £8. Plus express delivery. What's that? Oh, it's express delivery. Oh, for the same. Standard delivery, that's £4.49. Why? Revenue insurance. You didn't want to get the overtime rent insurance. You know what, I think I'll risk it. It is quite close to the sell-by date. Don't care. 98 pence it is. But you should have got back in 5 business days and we ready for your collection. Well, I need it now, obviously. Oh, okay. You want the take-home today price, so that's £2.07. You know, I'm going to go.
Anyone here developing a website? If you are, you need to download that and show your colleagues, because your IT division or your finance division or your legal division is going to be making the experience like that. You've got to take control and drive it from a customer experience point of view. And obviously, data behind that can help make it easier. Moving on. So, customer service. I heard earlier today examples of customer service, particularly with Net Promoter Score from Keith and so on. And I'm going to use an example now of Virgin Active. And we've got Lisa, who's on the middle table. Lisa can just give us a wave. Lisa's CRM manager of Virgin Active. Truth's been working with Virgin for a while now, about 18 months. And they are doing some amazing things, and she's given me permission to share those, so I'm very grateful. Thank you. So 2 things. The first thing is how they use the information to better market, but not marketing to cross-sell, market once you've joined the program. So obviously they will do traditional marketing to attract you to join Virgin Active, but once you've joined. So their data shows you that if someone hasn't started working out within 30 days of joining, they have a much higher probability of attrition to attrite. Globally, Phil, who is the global CMO for Virgin, was recently talking around globally the leisure industry. They see, health clubs see about a 40 to 50% attrition rate in their industry. So imagine that if you're the sales director of a business like that, how hard you have to work to recover 50% and then grow a further 6 or 10%. So the number 1 priority has to be retention. It has to be to reduce attrition. So the data has shown us this. The data has proven this direct correlation. So just simply by sending out welcome messages, you've joined Virgin Active, you've committed your finances, you now receive a welcome message that Lisa and her team drive to you. They have already seen a 25% uplift in members going to the gym within the first 30 days from one very, very simple action. And then thereafter, the member engagement plan we put in place shows that an activation message, the second message, and it's tailored depending on whether you've come in or whether whether you've come in once or whether you haven't come in at all. And they've seen a 50% uplift in change of behavior to get more people into the gym in that first 30 days. They want you to train, because if you're training, you'll stay with them for longer. Secondly, on the customer experience thing, anyone in the room been down to Cape Town this weekend for the Argus? Yay, well done. So those people in the so if I'd said that in Cape Town, the whole room would have put their hand up. So those of us who are in the Argus, if you went into Virgin Active the week before, you should have been welcomed, and a lot of people talked about this, with the lady or the gentleman who swipes your access card. Good luck this weekend. And you know what? If you're doing the Argus, you want to be told that. And Lisa's promised us that it'll be followed up with, how did you get on? Now, that is such a small thing, but about 4 or 5 different people have spoken to me about it, saying, do you know how that made me feel? That they care enough to ask me about my training and about an event I'm about to do. And it was driven by the data. It's so, so simple. So the guys at Virgin Active have taken this strategy and are doing the simplest, and that's the key to this. The simpler the things, the more powerful they are. So thank you, Lisa, for allowing us to share that data. So, as I said, you've got data, pretty meaningless without the insights. And if nothing else, if your organization can just drive the simplest of understanding of your customers, look at what we call value segmentation. I'm not going to be an analyst today and talk about complicated segmentation models, but a value segmentation allows you to understand who is most valuable to you. Keith was talking about it earlier. Typically, globally, retailers see the top 3% of customers are driving 20% of revenue. In the gaming industry, it's a pity Rob's left, but MGN from the US were talking about top 4% of their customers drive 58% of their revenue. They know that 4%, and they know everything about that 4%, and my goodness me, will they predict what you next need, not necessarily on the gambling tables, but in the whether it's the dining, whether it's the entertainment, the hotel division, and so on, because they understand their customers. You've got to love your most profitable customers. You've got to inoculate them against your competitors. Your competitors are right there waiting to take them. And they may already be within their top 4%. Don't think because they're in your top 4%, they're not in your competitors' top 4%. They may have a big repertoire of brands to work from. Macy's, quite openly, a US retailer, talk about, we actually don't need new customers. I find that quite alarming. I think everyone mustn't rest on their laurels. But they talk about, we need those we've got, must spend more with us. Almost like the Virgin Active example, those that we've got, we must retain them. So this is a pretty ugly slide, forgive me, so it's very illustrative, but really all I want to show you is the top-tier customers are giving you the most revenue. And if you're going to do a big bang marketing campaign, focus on retaining your top-tier customers, make them feel special. They probably don't need a discount from you, or they may on a particular product. They just want to feel loved. But that middle-tier customers are kind of in and out of your brand. They're not completely committed, and yet they're showing quite a lot of interest in you. So that's the part of the segmentation that you could hit most strongly on a marketing campaign. And the bottom tier, you'd really have to consider whether you're going to invest, because your return on investment will be less. However, having said that, if you overlay the Net Promoter Score, and I don't use the Net Promoter Score much, or clients use it, and Keith was talking about it earlier, but if your bottom tier has a lot of detractors, that could be very dangerous for your brand. They're not engaged with you, and they are verbally, through word of mouth, doing damage to your brand. You could look at different strategies, suddenly understanding the overlay of your Net Promoter Score of promoters and detractors against their actual value to you, and work on a word of mouth strategy as well as a sales strategy. So the Net Promoter Score, as we know, is from Bain. Bain have also just released this that I absolutely love around, I'll actually go to the next slide, where you've got promoters and detractors, but those customers who are socially engaged with you through social media, even the detractors, the socially engaged detractors, are 20% more likely to buy from you or transact with you. And then the promoters, you see 30%. And then the passives, 40% of passives, if they are socially engaged with you, are more likely to transact with you. So make sure your loyalty strategy, your marketing strategy understands that. We're embarking on the next wave of loyalty where we are starting to build programs for customers to reward for the social engagement combined with the transactional engagement. If you can get that right, you can see the full picture. And then imagine the data that you gather from the social stratosphere with your transactional stratosphere. My goodness me, can you make some smart decisions? So, quick example here. Again, sorry, forgive me for bringing up Tesco's, but just when I try and put them away in the closet, they come up with something new. Last week, they announced Clubcard TV, which is an internet-based TV program giving their Clubcard members free access to TV shows and movies with ad breaks. And the ad breaks, they will only send to you advertising that is relevant to you, because you know what? They know everything about you. And if you bought Pampers yesterday and Huggies are trying to promote, you may get a Huggies ad and you go, whoa, wait a minute, did I make the right choice? So they're also allowing the brands they're working with, the big FMCG brands, to get those kind of data insights and target that advertising like you've never seen before. We don't really have a case study yet. It was released last week, but amazing initiative. And also, you're less likely to skip over the ad breaks if it's something that could be relevant to you than the mass market advertising that your PVR skips over today. And what do they say? They say exactly that. They target the adverts that are relevant to them because they know their customers. They're personalized. They also look at what you bought yesterday. So the customer says, whoa, wait a minute. They really know, they care about me, they understand what's going on. I'm going to share another example with you, which is the Gilt Group, which is a US e-commerce organization that works off discounted sales, particularly in what used to be fashion. So ladies in the room, excuse me, gentlemen, for making sweeping assumptions, but they'll be selling Gucci handbags, for example, or Gucci shoes or whatever, for $1,000 rather than $4,000. That might sound awful to a lot of us. It might sound fabulous to some of us. They have an absolute enormous following, and they no longer stop at fashion. They sell holidays. They sell anything you want. But you have to get on there first, you have to bid, and you can get some great bargains. What they talk about is the experience online that differentiates them. They talk about traditional bricks and mortar stores. What they can do is create that experience because they have the data. They understand who's coming on and off their site. They understand who's buying from them. They create entertainment and competition. They're not creating a hard sell. They're creating the entertainment and competition. Also makes me refer to Rob's presentation from Togo's Sun. It's not about the sell, it's about the entertainment. So what do? So I'm going to quickly go through this list. Using the data, they personalize. They send more than 2,500 emails, different emails, every day. Just on that, Tesco's often talk about, they've got 16 million card holders. Every quarter they send a message with the vouchers, a statement with vouchers to those 16 million card holders. No 3 are the same. Get your head around that. No 3 out of the 16 million plus are the same because the data. So it may mean I get Colgate versus McLean's toothpaste, but it's still different because it's personalized to me. So they send 2,500 emails every day. In the merchandising space, they engage with their customers through Facebook to actually work out their merchandise strategy, asking the customers to decide what kind of handbag they want on the next sale. That's the sense of entertainment. You have a say. You have a say whether you're going to bid on the left hand $269 or the right hand $249. And the $249, one, is it because of price? I'm not sure. Is it because of style and design? Who knows? They also allow you to vote on the colorway that you want on the particular piece of merchandise, because they're going to go off and buy it for you, and then you can buy it from them. They segment. Earlier I was talking about the value segmentation. How valuable is the customer to you? The other segmentation that is critical in most businesses is lifestyle segmentation. What are people buying? Not how much are they buying, but what are they buying? And in their case, they've got two different examples: brand seekers, self-expressionists. Imagine in the food world that you've got gourmet cuisine chefs, you've got instant gourmets for convenience, you've got budget customers. You need to understand those differences. Their policies are driven by the voice of the customer. They listen to the customer through panels, through research, through the data, to actually say, hang on a minute, they saw they were having a drop-off after purchases before the shipping fee was added. And the feedback was, your shipping prices are too high. So we love your merchandise, the merchandise pricing strategy is right, but your shipping prices are too high, and they were losing customers. So by listening, they fixed the policy of the shipping price. They do actually have a loyalty program, but it's not about points. Their loyalty program is about inviting their top members to come on a quarterly basis to sit and talk and be listened to, and their top members get first access to the sales. So you get the Gucci handbag at $1,000 rand, we wish, $1,000, instead of the $4,000. Their social engagement is used very, very aggressively in the customer service space, so you can openly talk to them for customer service. We know a lot of brands now that actually just use Twitter purely for customer service. And they launched in 2007. They're already a $1 billion valued organization, so they are getting something right. And their entire strategy is around the voice of customer, which is data-driven and research-driven. Sorry, forget.
Hey there. Long time no see. Looking good.
Yeah. Let's just keep it simple. I want a divorce.
What?
I think you're gonna be just fine.
Come on. This is me. What's wrong?
I'm not talking anymore.
I just put that in the middle on a TV commercial just to talk to you.
Exactly. You do all the talking. I never get a chance.
Not on our website, can you?
Sure. If I want to say order this product.
See?
It's not exactly a dialogue.
What about the print campaign? You can't tell me you missed the billboard in Times Square. That was like a 200-foot tall declaration of love.
You're saying you love me, but you're not behaving like you love me. It's not genuine.
I don't know. The agency said I was genuinely being funny. Genuinely being charming. They said you would love everything I did.
But still, you do the radio commercial. Look, whether you're funny or not, it's just, I changed, and you haven't. I mean, we don't even hang out in the same place anymore. You're not even listening, are you?
Coupons. You want coupons, don't you? Look, come by the store, I got 2 words for you. Loyalty, redemption. Alright? That was it, wasn't it? Let's just hug.
If you do mean you don't care about that.
No. Sweetheart, I know everything about you. You're 28 to 34. Your online interests include music, movies, and laser hair removal. You have a modest but dependable disposable income. Am I the only one like any problem? Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Look, I'll tell you what. Come back here tomorrow. I'll give you a chance to go on a Bahamas vacation. There's a small chance, minuscule, but technically still a chance. I want to be like the old days.
That wasn't a guilt. Sorry, I should have broken between guilt and that. But the purpose of showing that is, if you recognize some of your marketing strategies in the gentleman wearing advertiser, please listen to the consumer. Thank you very much.